I found for myself, the biggest thing that worked for me was the triad accountability group.
Okay.
I love being able to bounce ideas off these ladies and get information back, or to listen to what they're doing, and we exchange ideas and exchange skill sets and understand one another. I I really love the two ladies that I work with weekly, and it's
Okay.
just, to me, that's my favorite part. That's what I really look forward to, because I'm really busy in other aspects of my life, having a 9 to 5 and not being able to have as much free time as I wanted. And when I do have free time, I'm doing Reiki and tarot.
Right,
So
right.
I have that time for them. We discuss, we get through, we make notes, we hold each other accountable, and then, okay, next week we'll see you, we'll see what you've done. And I love that.
Hello, welcome. I'm Catherine Gagno, Executive Director at the Natural Life Business Partnership. So please join me in welcoming April Edwards. But I would love to hear a little bit how you came to practice tarot readings. I think that that's fascinating. And then why did you also then to decide to add Reiki to, as a modality to your practice? And, what made you decide to do that?
Well, I started reading tarot like any normal 13-year-old, but with a book, and never really focusing or getting into it. Not until I was at the end of my university career, and I was really getting into it and reading it without the book and interpreting intuitively. At that time, I had a friend who I just spoke to yesterday. She's from Switzerland. She was going for her Reiki master certification at that time, and I had no idea what Reiki was. And she was telling me about it, and I was like, wow, it sounds amazing, but I didn't think anything of it.
So what is Reiki? Can you tell us what Reiki is quickly, just to share? Because some people have different thoughts in their heads of what it may or may not be, but I'd like to hear your definition.
Quick and easy, Reiki is universal life energy. Everybody has it within them. Everybody can channel it.
Okay.
You just have to learn how.
Okay.
And it helps speed up the healing process for the body, and also to remove emotional blockages.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
So fast forward a few years, I'm working in the city, and working right down the block on Spring Street from the Open Center when it was in Soho. And they had a Reiki course. And so I texted my friend and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? She's like, if anybody can do it, you do it. And from that first initiation where they opened my crown chakra, and just everything was different. All the colors were, I knew colors and I understood color, but I understood it differently afterwards. And the way I see it and the way I see things, and when I see colors when I'm giving someone a session, gives me the information. So it all sort of came together. And then when I decided that I was working with a friend of mine, and I was going to give her Reiki. And I was like, well, let's see, I don't use a pendulum because it was distance, you're far away from me. Let me use cards to figure out where the blockage is. Maybe it will figure it out. And I was like, boom, oh my God, it worked. I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense to me than using a pendulum, which I'm not really comfortable with, because I'm always thinking it's my hand that's moving it. So even though I know it's not, but still you get that in your head. But the cards just told me what it was that she needed to work on and what chakra. And then that also leads to certain parts of your body, what it is that you need to work on. Any, not disease as we know it, but dis-ease, like you're not feeling comfortable, you're not feeling good in that area, and what it is that you need to work on in order to move that along and to progress. And I fell in love with being able to use the two together. And that's how I go today. I
love that I don't know if this is intentional, but how you talk about color. Obviously, you had shared you're a graphic designer, so and that's interesting that you use that kind of connected, right? That connector, like, you've always been in tune with color, obviously, as an artist, as a design, that you're using color, you're touching color. So you have this connective to color, but I love how you kind of have connected that with your practice. And how did that come to be for you? Because I think that's interesting. And I think, like I said, I almost think it's like so deep down with people sometimes. Somebody was telling me that there's another member who uses fingers. She was a nail technician prior to that. So it's just interesting, it's like this, it's like almost there and it's like coming to surface. So I'd love to hear just a little bit how you made that connection for yourself.
Art has always been a very big part of my life since I was very small. My mother would always take me to art museums. I have an uncle who worked as an art handler in Soho in the 70s and the 80s.
Okay.
So I've been around art. I've been going to MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in Manhattan, since before I can remember. I know what the old building, I remember the old building. And just the uses of color and colors themselves have different meanings for me. So when I see them as projected in my head, when I'm giving someone a session, it's a message for me and how I can read it. So it may not necessarily mean the same thing to someone else, but if it's coming through, especially when I'm moving down the body and I can see the colors blending together, I can tell what chakras are being blocked because what colors are mixing together.
Wow. No, that makes complete sense. No, it does.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'll be feeling and I'll be going down and I'll see indigo and red. And I'm like, okay, so why do I not see the other colors in between? Something is blocking the energy flow because it's jumping from the 1st to the 6th. And so there's something going on in the middle. So that's kind of how I work.
Fascinating. No, it's fascinating. And but I like the connectivity of it, the connectivity of color for you as you apply it to your practice of the tarot reading as well as the Reiki. I think it's phenomenal, but it's like almost like it's innate, right? Like you said, you've always had this in you. So I love that it's come out, and thank goodness you didn't ignore that calling, if you will. So with that being said, when we think of calling, you've just been a member for 6 months, which is relatively new, but thank you. And I love that, I'd love to hear, at NLBP, we do offer a lot of benefits, probably sometimes one too many, but there's so many different ways to get involved that makes sense for you as a person, right? And some people may take it full advantage, others may dip in and out. But what's something that you can share, or how you activated your membership that's impacted you thus far? Like what's been one of the biggest impacts NLBP has made on your journey, if you will?
Well, full disclosure, I am a dipper.
It's okay. We all don't have time. Yeah. So I think, but love to hear how you dip.
Yeah. I found for myself, the biggest thing that worked for me was the triad accountability group.
Okay.
I love being able to bounce ideas off these ladies and get information back, or to listen to what they're doing, and we exchange ideas and exchange skill sets and understand one another. I really love the 2 ladies that I work with weekly, and it's just, to me, that's my favorite part. That's what I really look forward to, because I'm really busy in other aspects of my life, having a 9-to-5 and not being able to have as much free time as I wanted. And when I do have free time, I'm doing Reiki and tarot. Right. I have that time for them. We discuss, we get through, we make notes, we hold each other accountable, and then, okay, next week we'll see what you've done. And I love that.
And are they in this similar practice in terms of their profession, or are they in a different, or is it just out of curiosity? Because sometimes I think people misunderstand, not everyone is in the same modalities, or some people are in nutrition, some people are in body movement, there's a various research science, like everyone is in serving different different.
They use other healing and movement modalities. One is Chinese medicine, but is also into energy healing. Another is in energy healing and also movement, Qigong.
Okay.
And so it overlaps. We overlap each other. So we understand where each other is coming from, even though I may not understand all the intricacies of what each of them do. I understand enough that I can hold a conversation with them, and they can they know exactly where I'm coming from. Yeah.
No, I love that. And it's all around movement at the end of the day. bit of movement, which I do like. So you haven't been able to, which I think is exciting, and it's coming up, and I hope you will participate, but is that the 90-day challenge that we do at the end of the year. And you're going to ask me what it's all about. I have no idea, because we're all jumping on it together. But I think, if you haven't, I'm going to encourage you to take part in that as well. So we can, you and I will do it together. So we'll do it together. But I think that could be another great benefit as well, because it's not this full, your commitment of, doing something, but it's a good opportunity to ramp up or ramp down, or, however you need to ramp yourself up for the end of the year, when sometimes we all get a little slow and pokey in our business. Might be a good way to kind of finish the finish line strong, as they say. So I'm gonna tap you to get involved in that. You just don't know it yet, or now you do.
Well, that would be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's the whole idea of the accountability, right? So that's why the thematic came up, and I thought, oh, well, there's another one that's about accountability. And I think that's something unique about the NLBP, is that you won't find that in other type of networking groups. And not that we're necessarily even a networking group, but it's really about a partnership where we can collectively come together to help lift one another up, and help hold one another accountable. So I think it's important. So as we're talking this through, I'd love to hear too, again, it's only been 6 months, or about 6 months. What are 3 words that you would use to describe NLBP? And this is funny. I'm very curious, because I do have a running list of all these words, because everyone comes up with different ones. So it amazes me that we can do this.
Supportive.
Okay.
Knowledgeable, because I wanted to use one word.
Knowledgeable's new.
And just fun.
We haven't had fun.
Yeah.
We haven't had fun.
Even the discussions and the postings that people put on Facebook, there's a joy that comes with it. Even though it's business and everybody's work and they're in a business mindset, there's a joy behind it. So therefore they bring it to other people who are with them within the community, and that makes a big difference.
Right. No, I like that, actually. So we've got supportive, knowledge, and fun. And I think that's what it should be about at the end of the day, because we want to learn, we want to be happy.
Exactly.
So I love this. And is there anything else that you would want to add that, about what you do? Or I know I'm going off script. You're like, oh, really, don't do this to me. But just, any last words of wisdom as it relates to Reiki, or any thing that you want to demystify for Tara Reiki, what's one last thing that you would want to demystify for folks? Because like I said, I think sometimes people, and I think I shared this with you, they think it's just so out there. They just don't know how to impact them on a daily basis. So what is one thing that you would want to share with people before we pop off? I'd like to hear that.
Well, there's 2. For Reiki, it's energy. It moves beyond time and place. So you'll receive it when you need it.
Okay.
So if you seek it out, then that means you really need it.
Okay.
Or it might find you.
Okay.
As far as tarot is concerned, the story that is given to you from the cards is not etched in stone. If you don't like the outcome, you have every right and chance in the world to change it. It's completely up to you.
Okay. And when you do these sessions, then you do help people, guide them through this process based on the information that they get. And okay. So as you provide these services, it's not like they just come in and it's like, okay, see you later. We'll, and we'll see you next week. But it's truly a journey. It's a process, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes. I always ask that clients, if I'm doing virtually or even in person, have a notebook and a pen ready, because there's things that you're going to want to write down, because you may not think about it right now, but in a week, something might hit you, be like, oh my God, that's what we were talking about.
Okay.
And it might hit in something that needs to be worked through.
Okay.
And you may not be able to work on it right there and then. It might be something you might want to bring up with your therapist or with a close friend that you actually want to have a conversation with about it to flesh it out. But it's always good to write the things down so that you have them just in case.
Okay. And then my last quick question and with this, and because we put these on social channels and it's not for members only, it's to the, global world. I think also, I think understanding too is when people say they're going to go do Reiki, like obviously they have an open mind to doing it.
Mhm.
But do people have an expectation of how long something should take? Is there typical guidelines? Is it ongoing? I don't know. So I'm asking the question.
I leave that up to the person,
Okay.
how they feel afterwards.
Okay.
Um, I would say Reiki once a week would be optimal for everybody. You would be feeling so much better, and that would be amazing.
Right.
That's not real life for a lot of people.
Okay.
They don't have the time, they don't have the funds. That's
Mhm.
fine. But like I said, I leave it up to the person. I don't really, if somebody wants to, oh, I need to make another appointment, like make it right now. Okay, then we'll make it right now.
Okay.
Or make one in another month. That's fine. Make it in a month. It's completely up to you and how you feel. Some people have certain blockages that need to be worked on consistently. And if it's something serious, and I would be like, I really suggest making another appointment. I think maybe you would need possibly 5, but I will leave that up to you if you so choose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you will provide a scope, if you will, a scope of what they should
Yeah.
say. Okay. I was just curious. I never understood. I didn't know how it, not how, I
Yeah.
guess I just didn't know the what the standard practice was, or if there was
Mhm.
so, and I think a lot of people don't know that either. So it's like, they don't
Mhm.
know what to expect going in. It's like, so having understanding, right? There's knowledge.
Yeah.
And when we have power, there's power in knowledge. So I think when we have that knowledge and that intelligence, we understand what to expect, then people will become more open to actually saying, oh, perhaps I should explore this as a method that could help
Mhm.
me. So I think that's why I asked the question. I think people need to understand it and
Mhm.
know. So was curious. And I know that, like I said, you have both. And I love how you meld it all together and you bring it together. And, it's all about supportive knowledge and fun at the end of the day through NLP.
Exactly.
So I just want to say thank you for hopping on with us today and joining us. This was good. And I think it's great for us to understand what you do. And again, it's a very different, you're bringing 2 different modalities together, but you're making them work. You're bringing them together and you're seeing it through. And I don't know. And I love the whole color connection as well, because I think what happens is when people hear that, I think it's easy for them to relate to. And I could be wrong in saying that, but it's something that they could understand. And if you talk people through the process. So I love that. So thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome. Thank you for
all
having
right.
me.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.